What up, HyperChange? Welcome to episode number 13 of the G to a Milli series, where I am building my investment portfolio in public, rolling my snowball step by step, slow like a turtle, whatever you want to call it, showing you all my moves I'm making. So this is actually day 656 of the challenge, almost 2 years in now. Have deposited, I think, 28,520 into the account, almost around 51,000 of value, and I've been slowly adding to it, just kind of trying to build my side hustle retirement here. And I think we had about 75% return on our capital. If you had invested in the S&P 500, you'd be up about 24%. So doing okay for now, mostly thanks to Tesla. So shout out to Tesla. And wanted to update y'all on the moves I made last time. So I put out the paper bag investor with Lemonade, talking to one of the smartest Lemonade investors to hear his side of the thesis, learn more of the story. And since, if you probably already clicked on this, you might notice I sold half my Bitcoin and moved it into Lemonade. And a lot of you know I think of Bitcoin as sort of my cash position where I don't know what to do with something. I hold it in Bitcoin instead of cash. So I moved half of that into Lemonade, down a little bit on it right now. And this might be, I don't want to say it's going to be the worst G2 Milli episode so far, but the one where I'm most confused and don't have a clear-cut scheme and don't really have strong conviction in anything I'm doing. And I think that's a symptom of the markets where we're at right now. Like literally, I feel like there's nothing to buy. I feel like there's no company that's getting me super excited with massive upside. I mean, other than Tesla and Bitcoin, which have been my two biggest holdings for like 12 years now. So it just seems boring to keep riding those, but I keep coming back to risk adjusted. I mean, those two assets seem like they have 10x potential. And they're already huge. They seem safe. Maybe they even have 20x or 30x potential. So why would I dabble for anything else? It's pretty hard to beat that bar, you know, something you're pretty certain of that can do that kind of return. And also remember, none of this is financial advice, just open sourcing. And so I've been struggling, and I've been researching Lemonade a lot, and huge shout out to everyone in the Lemonade community. I almost feel like I don't want to bum people out, so I didn't, and I did buy a little more Lemonade, but like, I'm just not excited about it. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I think Lemonade is an awesome company. I mean, to reiterate the bull case here, they're going after insurance, super lean business model, leveraging AI and software. We've seen minimal growth in the operating expenses while huge growth in the underlying business. They're at this inflection point, about to turn profitable, huge exposure to pet insurance. They're crushing it there, which is, I think, an awesome industry. So I think Lemonade, and then they have this thing where they're about to start recognizing a lot more of their revenue that or the insurance they write because of the way they're putting the risk on their books. That's going to make revenue growth accelerate. Not really a change in the business, it's just the accounting, but that could be a catalyst. So I think Lemonade has a ton going for it and it has huge potential, but I've genuinely struggled a little bit to get excited about it. And that's not to say that's Lemonade. That's just like every investment opportunity right now. It's not really Tesla or Bitcoin. And maybe it could be because I don't understand Lemonade as much. And I feel like to really get your edge in investing, you have to understand something better than the market. I'd be kidding myself if I said that I understood Lemonade better than most people or better than the stock market. I mean, I have no idea anything about insurance. So while I do see them as this AI disruptor and a great company and amazing potential investment, I don't understand it well enough to feel like I have an edge. I'm not excited enough about the vision. So even though I bought, this whole episode update, it's like I bought more Lemonade, but you can already tell I'm already scheming on when I'm going to sell it. So, and honestly, roll it into Tesla. Like, I kind of feel like the inevitable move here is just I want to roll everything into Tesla and hold it for these next 3 years because I think we're about to go absolutely gangbusters with the Robotaxi rollout. I mean, I've been studying Tesla for 10 years. It's the Warren Buffett adage, why would you put money in your third best idea instead of your first best idea? And Tesla's my first best idea by so far that I don't know why I'm dabbling with other stuff. And it is still the biggest position in my portfolio by far in the G2 Milli account. And it's other than G2 Milli, I have no other stock account except the massive Tesla position. No other stocks, just a ton of Tesla stock. So, and I feel like in some ways, nothing about that concentration bothers me or stresses me out. I'm even thinking right now, like, does that stress me out? Not at all. Just because the technology that Tesla has, I feel like is so valuable and there's so much room to expand. And the more I've been thinking about Tesla, I feel like the company's financials have been flat for 3 years right now. And they've kind of been supercharging up for this next big run, which I think is on the cusp of happening here. I mean, we just had the record quarter for Tesla because of the tax credit ending, but the whole thing about Elon's politics, ruining the brand, Tesla's fizzling, it's like, well, not really. They just had their literally best record quarter ever. And the fact that they just released the cheaper Model 3 and Y is going to be huge for demand. Every $1,000 you drop the price on the Tesla massively expands the addressable market when we're talking about $30,000 to $40,000 cars. So to me, Tesla is kind of coming out of this pendulum of where I see vehicle sales crushing it. You have FSD as this tailwind to drive vehicle sales. Then you have the Robotaxi business, which is going to start adding to meaning, well, which could start accelerating the growth rate sometime next year. This whole time, you're going to have optimist demos and hype and FOMO of the greatest product of all time, the humanoid robot, creating the next sort of Apple-esque, what is the next robot companion that we all take with us? It's a C-3PO. That company that owns that C-3PO is the Apple of the humanoid robot, is going to be a $10 or $20 trillion company. Right now, we have 3 companies that I think are in the lead in the US. I think it's called, I'm blanking on the name, but I keep seeing them pop up on 1X or something. They're in Silicon Valley. They seem like they're crushing it. Figure just dropped a really cool video. And you've got Tesla. So you've got, I think the FOMO of the humanoid is going to start to kick in, and the potential is going to start to kick in. And then in the meantime, I didn't even mention Mega Block and Megapack are accelerating growth. The Tesla Semi accelerates growth. So long story short, I feel like investing, we can overcomplicate it all we want, but it really boils down to the cash flow per share of that business. If the business is creating more cash flow per share, eventually the stock price will go up and follow that. And so I'm seeing the writing on the wall where it's not there yet with Tesla's cash flow, although Q3 is going to be great, but maybe Q4 a little worse. But soon we're going to start seeing Tesla's cash flow go up in a huge, huge way. And I think that's going to be, and at least revenue growth, and I think that's going to be the signal to the market. So I think that's why the market's been getting excited now. I mean, if we can get Elon back on board, like officially lock him up on November 6th and do this new partnership with the CEO pay package, then I am so all in on Tesla for these next few years that I will probably sell everything in the portfolio and go into Tesla. Although maybe I'll keep the Bitcoin. But so that's kind of that's the counter to Lemonade. It's not that Lemonade's not great, but it's that what is the opportunity cost of that capital? I want to give an honorable mention to 2 other assets that I'm looking at right now, which are actually cryptocurrencies. So interestingly enough, I mean, we haven't had an exciting stock IPO in so long. There has not been a good IPO of an actually good company. I mean, I guess you could say CoreWeave, Reddit, those are cool, but OpenAI is like refusing an IPO. Like if you're a really good startup crushing it, you're not IPOing until you're so late stage. So I feel like the excitement of these 100x opportunities is really hard to find in the public markets. Maybe Lemonade's one, and so I'm looking at other places, and 2 interesting cryptocurrencies that are in the couple billions of dollars range that I think are very interesting assets are Worldcoin and Zcash. So I was following I'll start with Zcash. So I was following a Naval tweet that said, even Satoshi can't spend Bitcoin, which I thought was a very interesting thought exercise about how Satoshi Nakamoto, the anonymous founder of Bitcoin, holds 1 million Bitcoins worth like $100-something billion, one of the world's richest people. But we're all watching that wallet. If that wallet moves, that could send shockwaves across the Bitcoin ecosystem. So, and every move he makes is going to be tracked on that blockchain. So Zcash is a very similar to Bitcoin, but it allows you to participate in the network anonymously or normally. And so what Naval was saying is he's basically bullish on Zcash, and it's kind of started this whole conversation of people will want an anonymous cryptocurrency. Anonymity or whatever is very, very valuable in the future. And so I think this is a very interesting, you always got to be thinking about the bear case for your assets that are your favorite. What could go wrong? And so for Bitcoin, once you start getting a lot of money in Bitcoin, then you become a target almost in the future. So, and it's too transparent. So Zcash to me has a very interesting potential in where I see the digital economy going for this need for privacy on the blockchain. And apparently, this is just what I've heard, the inside gossip is you got an amazing quality team. They've put in a ton of work on the technical roadmap to actually make that a good cryptocurrency. So I used to be into Monero. That was another one that's doing something similar. So I don't own any Zcash yet, but that's a space I'm watching as super fascinating and just an interesting kind of asset and way to play it because I like these early projects, high risk reward. The other thing I'm looking at right now is Worldcoin. So Worldcoin is kind of tied to Sam Altman and OpenAI. It's like this very weird dystopian orb that scans your eyeball to verify human authenticity and identity, which makes a lot of sense and has a lot of potential in the AI world, and that's why Sam Altman created it. It's also very weird and big brothery to be uploaded to this database called Worldcoin where AI tracks you and knows you, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if I actually support, I don't know. And apparently Worldcoin is going to be the tool and system for UBI to be issued, or that's a potential theory and use case of Worldcoin is you could authenticate your identity through this Worldcoin system, and then you would be given Worldcoins to spend from the government as a form of universal basic income. So maybe Worldcoin's more of a spending currency. They're going to print a lot of, it doesn't have a lot of upside appreciation, but it's also this kind of option that's linked to Sam Altman and OpenAI who are crushing it, and I think there's something to be said for what could be happening there. So I don't own Worldcoin or Zcash, but I am fascinated by those assets and feel like they do have a lot of upside potential. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at now with the G2ML account. What am I secretly hoping on? I'm secretly hoping that Tesla stock has a mini crumble and Lemonade pops and Bitcoin pops and I can flip everything into as many Tesla shares as possible before this incredible run. And I've been following Tesla for so long, 12 years. I've been driving with my Model Y for 5 years. I bought FSD. I was one of the early beta testers of that. I've done the Robotaxi rides in Austin. There's something about conviction and understanding of a story that you build over time that cannot be replaced. So that's what's got me, keeps coming back to Tesla. It's like I put in so much time and effort into this company and I feel like I understand it really well. And I feel like right now they're at an inflection point where they're about to totally transform their business model and I want to be along for that ride. And I'm very confident in it. Lemonade, they're about to turn profitable. That could be huge. They're going to accelerate growth. They're recognizing more revenue. I think if they go profitable, the market sort of re-rates them and realizes this could have insane operating leverage and truly be that AI insurance play. They could start to get a huge premium. You've got a ton of smart shareholders putting out research, great little shareholder community, great brand that I think has huge potential to grow. So I don't have anything bad to say about Lemonade, but I don't know if it's going to last in the portfolio. So I'm a little bit confused. I'm looking for some guidance here. How would y'all think this through? Just being an open book here with my thought process, but I've spent so much time researching Tesla, and I think they're about to fundamentally transform automotive transport in such a big way with the self-driving thing and I'm so sure of it because I drive on self-driving my Tesla every day. I'm like, what are you doing, Gally? Don't miss this trend that you've been researching, that you're sitting on, that I have a secret that no one else knows. This is the Peter Thiel 0 to 1 contrarian investing, how you make a ton of money. The amount of self-driving that's going to happen, Teslas can drive themselves way better than any car, and they're about to spread that technology everywhere. I know that secret. I literally feel like I'm secretly driving in the future around Seattle. I'm in my Tesla. It's driving itself. All around me are human drivers, except for a couple other Teslas on FSD. So I think that society is massively underestimating how big this change is because we've never seen anything like it. And so that's why it's so hard to compare what will this Robotaxi business model be? What if they're as big as Uber? What if they're 10 times bigger? Is it 5 trillion, 10 trillion, 2 trillion? We don't know because we've never seen it. And it's going to be a case of true disruption. When you can offer a better product for a better price, that's more sustainable. I've been saying the Tesla Cybercab is a potential 10x on 3 levels. 10 times safer, 10 times less emissions, 10 times cheaper per mile. Those may all 3 not come through, but even if a fraction of each of them do, this product's potential is so immense. So I love ideas that I can't think of a cap to. So I will give Lemonade credit for that. When I was first finding out about Bitcoin, I was like, dude, how big could this get? This could literally challenge global currencies. If this is going to be digital gold should be better than gold, Gold's 15 trillion. We could be better than 15 trillion. Like we could use this as money in cyberspace. Like when you can't put when it's like you're trying to put a cap on your DCF and your earnings and your profit at maturity of a company, and you try and seal that tube, and little like schemes keep popping out, like, oh, well, we're gonna do Optimus now and make even more money than Robotaxi. And those are my favorite assets. Those are the things that to me get me excited. It's like when my imagination can't even finish like the vision of the company or the potential. I don't know if this is making sense, but and those are the assets I like. So I hate to keep mentioning StarCloud, this startup I visited, which I'm going to drop a video about. I'm wearing their merch right now, but StarCloud is another one that I thought of that, like data centers in space, eventually launching a Dyson sphere to capture all energy from the sun to use AI compute. We're literally talking about Star Trek kind of things here. So I love ideas like that. And so Tesla to me is an idea like that. And maybe Lemonade is too, because they can insure the Tesla bots and the humanoid robots. And that's a whole business we're not even thinking of. So there's two kind of ways I think about it. It's like, how is this potential unlimited in ways that I haven't thought of? And then how fast can that crazy potential be realized? That's another thing. So with Lemonade, that I don't think they pass. You may need more capital and reserves, which you may have to dilute more to grow. You always have to have some reserves. There's a bunch of regulatory requirements to go through. Insurance just isn't a viral product with network effects and economies of scale, really, unless you get maybe the AI gives you a pricing model advantage, but I don't see that. But Tesla could build 1 million cyber cabs and have an app out there and get millions and millions of people to adopt them, be riding them within a year time. So, or something like that. So, and maybe that's not a perfect analogy, but those are the kind of ways I'm trying to categorize my gut feel about these companies, if that makes sense. So this is G2 a Milli. I'm going to grab my laptop and see questions from the last episode. Gally, you had Henry on the channel a few episodes ago talking about Upstart. Did you ever consider looking into that stock? Curious to hear your thoughts. So Upstart, shout out to Henry Invest, really cool guy who's doing a bunch of awesome content about the market, and he's really into Upstart stock. This AI lending platform kind of reminds me of Lemonade, actually, but I do not understand anything about that business. So I think Henry's really smart and there's a lot of potential for Upstart, but I'm not, as you can tell, financial services and the financial services industry are just not my thing. I just think you have to get really deep into the books to understand what is happening with the underwriting, with the loss ratio, and there's a lot of way to fudge the numbers personally. So I stay in my lane. I know what I'm an expert in. I don't think I'm an expert in Upstart, but I think it's a very cool company. And if you got people like Henry saying it's going to crush it, then I would look into that. Rocket Lab is a fun company to follow, and it ticks all the boxes. I've heard a lot of Rocket Lab. My gut instinct is I'm a huge investor in SpaceX, so are they going to be better than SpaceX? I'm very bullish on the space economy, and I've heard so many good things about Rocket Lab that I want to keep looking into that one. So thank you, AJ Ferguson, for saying that. Strategy Schemin from Marek Spot. How do you plan to structure your Milli portfolio as a whole? How many companies do you plan to own? What is the ideal ratio between them, and what are the said companies? Why did you choose them? Worthy mission, owner, operator? Thank you. So that's a great question. To be fair, right now I'm trying to build wealth. I'm a huge believer concentration builds wealth, diversification preserves wealth. So I think this is not for everybody. It's not financial advice, but just what I do is almost like Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, like understand a company in and out as a customer, be the customer, and feel like you know it better than anyone else. And when you see them making an inflection point and the market's not appreciating it, that's when you move. And so really knowing what you know. Right now, I've spent so much time researching Tesla, like I've been talking about, that I feel like is what I know, and I feel comfortable structuring my portfolio with that being a huge position. If I was 50 years old, I would be totally changing the way I'm structuring my portfolio. I'd own a lot more names. I'd have it be a lot more diversified because I wouldn't want to be ruining my retirement. But for now, I'm okay with high risk. I think Tesla is an extremely unique company, and same with Bitcoin. And so that's why I'm structuring the portfolio this way of like, I'm actually trying to make a ton of money and make a few highly concentrated bets and things I know really well, move into them slowly, slowly add money to the account over time, slowly diversify the account over time. So we'll see how that evolves, but everything's kind of free-flowing for now, but that's how I'm thinking about structuring the portfolio right now. It's all about concentration builds wealth, trying to build these core positions in great companies that I think will be much bigger 10 years from now, because that's kind of like the time frame of this portfolio. What happened with Airbnb? I see a lot of people asking this, so I sold my Airbnb in this portfolio a couple episodes ago. The biggest reason was they just don't have enough growth. I love that business. I love Airbnb as a customer, but the business is growing in single digits. They keep hyping up other avenues of growth that just haven't been materializing and weren't as exciting as I wanted. So it's just all about opportunity cost. I love Brian Chesky. I love Airbnb, great company, great service, but what is the opportunity cost of my capital? I can be investing in Tesla that's going to change the world and has potential to grow its business 10x, or Airbnb is growing 6%, and I don't see them busting out of that too soon. So a little bittersweet there, but that's what happened with Airbnb. Should have just held on and kept building my Coinbase position. That's a good one. Wraps up G2 a Milli, episode number 13. We'll see you on the next episode, see what moves I make. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave me questions I can answer on the next episode, what y'all want to see more of. This is HyperChange. See y'all next time. Peace. Also, still setting up my studio, so expect the mic and content and the thing to get better, but if you have tips on how my mic is and the camera, let me know.